WPTV.
Welcome back to the desk. Today we have Jimmy, Ryan, Andrew, and Mark to get us ready for Week 10 in the NFL. Now, Ryan, we're going to go to you first. Big news in the NFL. Odell Beckham Jr. has signed a one-year deal to go to the Los Angeles Rams. We talked about them last week with them acquiring Von Miller. Ryan, this team is insane. It's like the Dodgers are just football, get a Hall of Fame team, it looks like. First, is Odell going to be a threat for the Rams? And secondly, and I think the more important one, are they going to win the Super Bowl? I mean, this might put them over the hump.
Well, let's start with Odell Beckham and how I said last week that he's one of the most overrated wide receivers in the NFL. But that was with two quarterbacks that are not at the talent level as Matthew Stafford is right now. I think he can easily add to this amazing core of players: Matthew Stafford, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, corner, and of course Von Miller, who they acquired last week. But going back to Beckham, I think that he can easily average 75 yards a game the rest of the way. And he's replacing Deshaun Jackson. And he's going to do more than double what he did. So I think he can be a key part of this offense. Is he going to be a crazy all-pro? Maybe not, but he is a key piece.
So he doesn't become overrated just because he's on a new team now?
No, it's just that I don't think that he is still as good as people say that he is, but I do think that he can be a good role player. I don't think Odell can be a top receiver on a team at this point. So I think that's where I'm going with this.
Go ahead, Mr. Patton.
No, I got you. Odell's a player in his first 3 seasons, had 1,300 yards with the Giants. We haven't really seen him get back to that production. The Browns love running the rock. Baker Mayfield, he just didn't want to give him that football. So Odell, I think, has a lot of talent. I just find it interesting, a guy who wants targets. He's going to be a number 2 receiver on this team at best with Kupp and Woods. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets his share. $4.5 million new deal. We'll see what he can do.
Now, Andrew, we talked about Odell, so we already know about him. But just look at the rest of their team. So many different Pro Bowlers, so many different All-Pros. I mean, Aaron Donald's debatably the best defensive lineman of all time. So what do you think about this team? Because it's crazy. It's madness to me.
This team, it's like you said, it's the Dodgers of the NFL at this point. Los Angeles as a whole has just taken over sports. It's insane what they've done the past couple of years. I think Odell is going to fit in great with this team, to be honest with you. It kind of reminds me of Antonio Brown going to the Bucs last year. Kind of like that veteran piece that they want. He's not going to be the number 1 option, but he's not the worst player on the team. Odell's only got 17 catches for 230 yards this year. Last year, Antonio Brown had 45 for 500 and 4 touchdowns with the Bucs. I think Odell can put up some similar numbers with the Rams.
And as you say, talking about Antonio Brown for the Bucs, he made a big factor in the playoffs. He was one of Tom Brady's most effective weapons. Now, Mark, do you think that'll be a similar thing for Odell? People are calling him washed. Ryan over here said he was overrated last week. But, I think it's still an opportunity that he can still be like Odell from the past.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, the potential for Odell to be a game changer on the Rams is definitely high. But going back to what Mr. Patton said, he's going to a team that already has a lot of mouths to feed on that offense. You look at Cooper Kupp, you look at Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee's close to a top 10 tight end. And even Darrell Henderson has emerged as a decent running back in replacement of Cam Akers. So I think that the potential is there for him to be a big play receiver on the Rams, especially with Matthew Stafford at quarterback. But I just don't know how likely it is given all of the talent they have on that side of the ball.
And I'm happy you said a certain name, Mr. Cooper Kupp. This guy is going insane this year. He's on pace to break the receiving record, I believe. He has 1,000 yards through 9 games. Ryan, does this make him the best wide receiver in the NFL? Because, he's showing out.
He's been a pain in a lot of people's tails in fantasy this year who had to face him. And, yes, he is the best receiver in the NFL. 74 receptions leads the league. 1,019 receiving yards leads the league. 10 touchdowns leads the league. 14 yards per catch, that's in the top 5. And 113 receiving yards per game. And plus, he does great in yards after the catch. When he's in space, he has incredible speed. I think that makes him the best receiver in the game. I think that Debo has 100 yards less than him. The gap between 1 and 2 is incredible.
Andrew?
Yeah, no, Cooper Kupp is absolutely phenomenal this season. Ryan couldn't say it any better. He leads the league in every stat that's imaginable for a receiver. He's putting out insane numbers. He's going to break some sort of record, I think.
At least one of them, I think.
So he's on the best team in the league. He's the best wide receiver in the league.
Oh, no, giving a spoiler away for a little later. Jimmy, what you got? What's your thoughts?
This is absolutely criminal. Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in football. He's going to finish this season with 1,300 yards once again. The guy's averaged 11.5 yards per catch numerous times in his career. Over the last 3 seasons, it'll be 3,700 yards. If you add this season, 5,000 yards through 4 seasons. He's the only one on that team, too. It's him and Aaron Rodgers. The chemistry is unbelievable. Cooper Kupp is just free to run single recoveries all day.
Mark?
Yeah, I think that right now, based on production, Cooper Kupp is undoubtedly the best wide receiver in the NFL. And something interesting about Cooper Kupp is if you look at his offensive snaps, out of 540 of them, he's playing 353 of them in the slot, which is 65%. So when you talk about football, you're talking about it being a game of matchups. When you have a guy like that, 6'2", 208 pounds, him in the slot is a mismatch.
Now, we heard Davante Adams' name talked about. Now, let's talk about his quarterback. The Packers have been in a little bit of controversy. Jimmy, it's a lot going on, but, we have some quotes from Aaron Rodgers. What's your thoughts on this one?
It's been a tough situation for them breaking the COVID protocols. We're going to take a look at some quotes Aaron Rodgers has said about the whole situation, not being vaccinated. Packers are still doing well. He said, I consulted with a now good friend of mine, Joe Rogan, after he got COVID, and a lot of the stuff he recommended in his podcast and on the phone to me, Rodgers been on the record saying, quote unquote, I'm immunized. Great MLK said, you have a moral obligation to unjust rules and rules that made no sense. You know what? Quite frankly, this whole Aaron Rodgers situation, to me, it only makes his MVP case stronger. You look at Jordan. You look at Jordan Love last week, 19 for 34, 55% completion against the Chiefs defense. This team gave up 30 points to almost everybody. Horrible.
Mark.
Yeah, I think that I'm just looking forward to seeing Aaron Rodgers play football again. Even without the quotes, he's a phenomenal quarterback. We all know this, one of the best in the league.
Best of all time as well.
Potentially. But I'm just looking forward to seeing him play again after watching that Jordan Love showcase last week.
Hey, Jordan Love may play again on Sunday if Aaron Rodgers cannot clear protocols. Ryan?
About what Aaron Rodgers said, you know me and how serious I've been about COVID the past 18 months, and hearing someone who is the greatest quarterback of all time with such a huge platform saying what he said, just inaccuracies, how the vaccine gives you sterility, that ivermectin works, and that he's consulting medical expert Joe Rogan. It makes him look bad, and I think that it puts a bad light on him, and I think that he deserves every bit of criticism that he's getting. And plus, he lied to the people. Like, he's immunized? No, you're just beefing up your immune system so you don't get COVID. But guess what? You got COVID. So it just makes him look really, really bad. But I still think that, yes, the Packers team does need him a lot.
Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, it's a messy situation, top and bottom. But I agree with Jimmy. I think this does make his MVP case better. I mean, the Packers look terrible without
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers. So I guess we'll see what happens if he plays Sunday.
Well, yes, Sunday's coming. But, we talked about the Rams at the top of the block. Definitely one of the best teams in the NFL. A couple different teams, that has that contention. Mark, we'll start with you. There's a lot of upsets in Week 9. The Bills lost to the Jaguars. But other than that, who do you think the best team in the NFL is?
I'm going to go with an answer that I think that a lot of people might not agree with. I'm going with the Cardinals. 8-1 record. Obviously, they have the best record in the NFL. But even looking past that, they were able to win last week without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins. I think that the emergence of Cliff Kingsbury as a top head coach is huge for them. He's not calling his college scheme anymore. He's running the ball frequently. That's huge for them, especially with the two decent weapons they have at running back, Chase Edmonds and James Conner.
Andrew?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's hard to say anybody other than the Rams. They just got Odell. They just got Aaron Donald. They have a 7-2 record. They're second in the NFC West right now. They had a tough loss against the Titans. I think they're going to bounce back from that pretty easily. They got some tough games coming up. They got Packers, Cardinals, Seahawks, and Ravens still on the schedule. But I think they're going to make a deep run in January. I don't think any of that matters. Rams are the best team in the league.
Ryan?
We haven't seen what the Rams can do yet, really, with the new pieces they've gotten in the last couple of weeks, and they have the fourth easiest schedule in the NFC. All that put together, I'm going bread and butter. I got the Bucs. They put up points galore against a bunch of teams, and I think that they have the most depth out of any team in that conference and the league.
Jimmy, close us out for the block.
Well, it's a dark day when I have to agree with Andrew Ballesteri multiple times. The LA Rams are the undoubted best team in the NFL. We always talk about their offense. Their defense is legit, too. They lead the NFL in sacks. They're second in interceptions. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, they got a whole team dynamic. They're going to make a deep run in the postseason.
Well, there was no love for the AFC here because, just like the NFC is the powerhouse of the NFL right now. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on in the NFL. But that's all the time we have on this NFL block. Let's head to the arena and talk hoops with the NBA crew, only here on WPTV.